I'm ready.
And just like that, we're back and we're open and we're doing it again. Because you know what? This work never ends. These people just never stop doing what they're doing. Today, not gonna be cooking. We're gonna do arts and crafts. We're gonna go back to the old, like what, a month ago. We're gonna go back to the old school and we're going to do arts and crafts. So Scott is over here doing. Do you got your book? Sorry, I'm gonna hang up my sign. I'm gonna show them your book. So Scott has a little number sticker book because he got tired of my little garden sticker books. So for all you Halloween lovers, for the people that love Halloween year round, just look for the thing you want. It's a number by sticker book. It has like fun things, like scary. Oops, that's not it. Scary fun things. So yeah, look for what you want. And then me, what about me? I got this light bright. Child, I'm about to go deep into my childhood, honey. I'm doing light bright. So grab whatever you want. It don't have to be nothing fancy, just whatever you want. Get comfortable. Cause honey, we are back on the case with Sherlock Holmes, Watson, you, Scott, me, and whoever else want to join. Period. And today's case or adventure or whatever we're calling it is the case of the Copper Beeches. Or the adventure of the Copper Beeches. Let me show you this is my little library thing. How cute. Anyway, so it's the adventure of the Copper Beeches. Scott,
Yes.
do you know what a copper beech is? Scott's the mind over here.
No, I do not know what Copper Beach is.
Now I know y'all are probably thinking like, oh, it's just red tide in Florida. It's not. Because this beaches with Beeches. So what they are trees. The Copper Beeches is the word of the day. They're trees. So we have the case of the Copper Beeches, and I'm wearing this blue shirt, or I'm sorry, not shirt, it's a dress. This blue dress, let me show you, for a reason, because honey, it's what I saw in my closet that went with what's going on in the story, because that's what we do here. I'm inspired by these stories. So anyway, so we start the case as we always do with Sherlock Holmes, Watson, you. They're hanging out. They're hanging out. They're sitting there. They're in the living room, and Holmes is over there dragging. As Sherlock Holmes, I'm supposed to be doing this as only Sherlock Holmes can do. He is just sitting there dragging humanity and just being like, I'm not too happy with what we got going on. So basically, Sherlock Holmes is saying, like, Watson, honey, he's like, baby, let me tell you something. Okay, crime is more common than logic. And he's like, the way you be writing these adventures, while I do appreciate you writing these adventures, sir, you're not doing it the way that needs to be done. And Watson is just sitting there like, sir, how you gonna drag me for writing your adventures, but not writing it the way that you want? And he's like, no, it should be written more like a case study, but you're writing it like a adventure. And this should be taught in school, honey, because where's the logic, honey? Logic ain't logicking no more, okay? Which I feel like the more things change, the more they say the same. What say you, Scott? Do you think logic is common today? Or is crime more common?
Well, I mean, I'd probably have to say crime because there doesn't seem to be a lot of logic.
Period. So let me read you the little thing, because I like it when Holmes drags. That's probably why I hung in here so long with these books. Okay, so what he says is, no, it is not selfish or conceit, because he was dragging, Watson about like how you gonna write it like that? Like, this supposed to be a case study, so these people can get logical. So anyway, he said, answering as was his wont, my thoughts rather than my words. If I claim full justice for my art, it is because it is an impersonal thing, a thing beyond itself. Crime is common. Logic is rare. Therefore, it is upon the logic rather than upon the crime that you should dwell. You have degraded what should have been a course of lectures into a series of tales, period. So he dragging Watson. And he's basically saying, sir, I'm bored out of my wits. Why do all these people be coming to me with these nothing cases? Like, we got one coming up now, like coming right now. And what she needs me to do is check and see if this job that she's applying for is okay. Like, sir, this is beneath me. That is basically, Holmes was saying basically that sir, that is beneath me. So my girl comes in. Oh no, I forgot my little book. Hold up. I'm gonna be right back. I'll be right back.
Oh no.
I always do that.
What book is that?
This is my little cheat sheet. Okay, sorry, I had to get my little cheat sheet with my name and stuff, with the names and stuff, because Mama Memory ain't doing what Mama Memory used to do. Okay, Auntie TT Memory ain't doing what TT Memory used to do, but we still gonna get these story times in to inspire logic. So okay, so up the stairs comes my homegirl Violet Hunter. And she's like, oh my God, Mr. Holmes. Like, he's impressed by her. Once she gets there, like they say that, you know, she's not dressed splendidly, but my girl she got wit and grit. So, you know, he's like, okay, well, go ahead and tell your tale, girl, because I likes what I see thus far. And so she goes on and tells him, you know, she's like, you know, I was working as a governess, which is like a nanny, like back in that's what they call it. Maybe in the UK or maybe it was the 1800s. But anyway, she was like, I was a governess. However, the job that I had, you know, went away because the people who I was working for ended up, you know, they were military and they got an assignment somewhere else, and I'm not able to go. So, you know, I won't, you know, I lost that job. And so, you know, cool. But she's like, I don't have any friends or family. I'm kind of like an orphan. So I'm out here on my own. I had some savings, but my savings was dwindling. So she said she went to a lady who has a governess, like kind of like what's that thing called, Scott? When you're looking for a job, you go to a temp agency. It's like a governess temp agency. So she goes to this governess temp agency and she applies with this lady, and you know, she's going for days and days. And eventually she says she comes in and there's this like kind of chunky dude who's really jolly. And he's there and she walks in and he's like, that's the one. You the one. You the one. The only one. You're number one. Shout out to Beyonce. So anyway, so he's like, okay, girl, she the one. And he's like, what do you be charging? Like, what do you charge for your governess services? And she's like, well, my last job, I was getting paid like £4 a month, which remember, we said that was like 500 and something, but that's a lot, you know? Well, I don't know. I don't know what, you know, the exchange rate was and if she stays there or not, but she was like £4 a month, which is like $540. So pretty good. And he's like, psh, tut, tut, tut. And he says this, tut, tut, tut. I thought that was amusing. Tut, 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 girl. I am not going to pay you just no £4. What about £100 a year? And she's like, oh my God, girl, that's a lot. What you guys got? Scott over here looking.
Yeah, that's double, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like a little more than double. So she's like, oh my God, girl, wait, what? And he was like, well, let me tell you something. My kid's a little weird. The kid you're gonna watch, he's 6. He's a little weird. I'm just gonna read it to you. Because this little boy, I was like, okay, honey, you just over there, y'all raising some children, huh? So he says, one child, one dear little romper, just 6 years old. Oh, if you could see him killing cockroaches with a slipper. Smack, smack, smack. 3 gone before you can wink. He leaned back in his chair and laughed his eyes into his head again. Girl, number one, we know Orkin wasn't around and we know they didn't have Raid spray cans, but sir, why y'all got cockroaches and why the baby killing the cockroaches? Why the baby killing the roaches? And why does he get pleasure out of it? And why are you laughing at him doing it? Like, it was red flag central, honey. It was flag there and a flag over there and a flag over there, honey. But nevertheless, my girl sat there listening. He was like, so we got this little kid that kills small animals, no big deal. So smack, smack, smack. And he was like, also, me and my wife have, we're eccentric. We have different tastes. Scott, what do you think those different tastes were? I would have thought some swinger stuff, but
yeah, it's kind of what my mind was going.
Well,
figure out a nice way to say it, but yeah.
It wasn't that. So he was like, well, girl, we just want you to sit in a chair and wear outfits that we want you to wear. And also, we might, need you to, hang around some extra time. You can't go in certain rooms. But the part that we really need you to do is cut your hair. Now, mind you, she's like, as you can see, Holmes, I have a very, unique shade of brown, which I'm doing right now is red, but we're going to pretend like it's brown. And she was like, people like my hair. So him telling me he wants me to cut my hair, I was a little taken aback. And Holmes is just sitting there like, girl, ain't no way. I think Holmes was saying no at the child killing the roaches. I think that's where Holmes just exited the whole like job scenario. But I don't know. But he just seemed like he wasn't here for her working for this family. And by the way, his name is Jeffro Rucastle. That's the guy who's trying to pay her the $100 to go and work for him and his eccentric wife with their eccentric taste and their child who's just killing small animals. So she was like, I'm not here for the cutting of the hair, sir. And he was like, what? Well, we're going to have to find another you. Next. And so she left, But then my girl, was having some second thoughts because she said her cupboard was bare. She wasn't getting no money from nowhere. She ain't had no mama, no daddy, honey. She's out here by her lonesome. And so, she was considering the reconsider, honey, because she needed to make that money, honey. So she was reconsidering the reconsider. So she didn't even have to do that. You know why? Do you know why, Scott? Do you know why over there? Do you know why? Because we on the case, honey. Do you know why, Scott? Because he sent her a letter. Mr. Rucastle sent her a letter. Now, how did he get her address? Do you ask? The lady at the agency kindly gave her the address, which is just it went fly today. But nonetheless, he sent her a letter and he was like, hey, girl, look, we can't find nobody. We love your shade of hair because we're weird. And we can't find nobody else with that color hair. So we're going to up the ante and offer you 20 more pounds. So it went from 100 pounds to 120 pounds. Scott over there moaning. Scott might take the job. I wouldn't.
No, I think she's getting set up for something, it sounds like.
Holmes kept saying, look, Scott and Sherlock Holmes are here. Okay, so Sherlock Holmes was sitting over there like, girl, Molly, you in danger, girl. As he does. He drags and he warns everybody, Molly, you in danger, girl. So he was just like, okay. So she was like, Holmes, that's why I'm here. I don't have any family. I don't have anybody I can consult. I don't have no friends. What do you think I should? But I've heard you that dude. So what do you think I should do? So Sherlock Holmes was like, girl, no. Remember American Idol? They were like, no. Them people would come on there singing mad. And Simon Cowell would be like, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. Before he changed his face up. It's a no for me. So, So she was like, well, sir, unless you're gonna help me out, unless you're gonna help a sister out, I'm gonna have to take this job because I don't have any options here. But I just want to let you know and see if you'll help me out if some weird stuff happened. Because I can already tell, like, she knew she was going into the danger zone. She knew. So, so she, goes on over there. She accepts the job offer. Don't know why. But she accepts the job offer and she goes on over, and Sherlock Holmes is just worried, honey. So now he's no longer dragging Watson for writing the cases like he writing them. Now Sherlock Holmes' new thing to just really think about is, oh my God, I can't believe that chick took that job over there at that crazy people house. I hope she's okay. So he's sitting there for 2 weeks, because they said a fortnight, and that's 2 weeks. He's sitting there for 2 weeks like, oh my God, oh, okay, I hope she okay. I hope it's okay. And he keeps saying, like, if that was my sister, I would tell her no. Hell, if it was my enemy, I would tell them no. But that little kid, number one, honey, you going to roaches. And number two, that little kid, something wrong with him. And number three, something wrong with the whole family. But whatever. So nevertheless, in 2 weeks, here come my girl sending Sherlock Holmes a letter like, oh my God. She didn't even say anything. She basically was like, hey, I need for you and Watson to get y'all yourselves right on down here by this time, like ASAP. Like, you need to, like, I'm surprised you aren't standing there. I need you there that quick. Like, beam me up, Scotty. Scott, beam them up.
All right.
This is the 1800s. There is no beaming up. They had to take a stagecoach. So it took extra long. So sorry, y'all. I gotta find these pegs for my light bright. So anyway, so they get there and she is just looking like, oh my God, honey, I have seen some things. Why are you laughing, Scott?
I'm waiting to see what things she's seen.
Well, she saw some things, honey, some things, honey, that made her write Watson and Holmes and you and Scott and me so we can get on over there. So she's like, look, these people have lost their mind. I don't know what's going on, but nothing's right here. So basically, she said the child is just, the roach thing was just like a little tidbit of information. But she's like, anything smaller than the kid, mice, she's like, he's extremely good at catching mice. She said cats, frogs, dogs, anything smaller than him, he tortures it. This is a 6-year-old, by the way. This is who she's hired to watch. So she said, oh, the kid torture stuff. But she was like, that's not even a problem. The torturing of the animals is not the problem. The smacking of the cockroaches all over the place is not our problem. Do you know what the problem is?
I don't. Maybe he eats the things and smacks around.
No, she said, no, we said the kid ain't the problem.
Oh, the kid's not the problem.
No, she said that's the light work over down to that house, to the Copper Beeches. Well, she said, okay, well, let's just go. So she said she answered the thing and she was like, okay, yeah, I'll take the job. I'm gonna cut my hair. No big deal. It was a big deal. But she cut her hair. She did everything. He came, he picked her up, and she said at first everything was cool. The first 2 days were fine, which is, ain't that like a new job? The first couple of days be all right. Everybody be smiling at you. Happy. Not that kid though. That kid was over there torturing cats. It sounded like Renfield. We went to go see Nosferatu. Sounded like Renfield, just torturing little animals. Okay. So she said first 2 days was fine. She said her concern was Mrs. Rucastle, because Miss Rucastle sitting there looking frail and fragile, looking like this little straw over here, but pale. She's all meek and stuff. And she's like, I think there might be abuse. She didn't say that, but it's implied. So she's thinking there's abuse there. The kid's a horror. She's being abused, so she ain't really minding no business with the kid. Then there's Mr. and Mrs. Toller. They have 2 servants that kind of hang out there. Mr. Toller's just, girl, he wakes up toe up. He goes to bed toe up. He's off that bottle, honey. Mr. Toller loved the bottle. And Miss Toller just around there like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this man. He's just passed out drunk all the time. So they got that dynamic. And then let's go back. You know I'm never in sequence. Mrs. Rucastle is clearly like 20 years younger than Jeffro. Okay. He was a widower. His wife, passed away early. So he went and found something. She's in her 30s. He's in his 50s. So he went and found him a little young ting.
So was the kid hers or the old boy's?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Look at Scott ahead. Your head. Miles ahead. So, so there's also another daughter, Alice, but Alice got up out of there. Alice was like, girl, absolutely not. Y'all are not going to have me up in a situation like that, which is another red flag. Girl, I would have left. Violet, we need to go, baby. Violet Hunter, we need to go. But nope, she wants to keep going. So Alice is gone. That was by the first mom. Alice, I think they said went on to like London or something. So that was that's the child by the first mama. Alice left when she saw that how young that wife was, because Alice said, why is this woman only 5 years older than me? Okay. So she didn't have no say. So Alice said, let me get on out of here. Peace. So then the second wife comes in and she has the little child that's killing all up that's torturing all the small animals. That child is by her. So, he got him a little younger chick and he's abusing her, and hey, it is what it is. So that's the whole family. That's what we got going on there. So she said, things started getting really weird when they had her, they would have her sit in the front living room in front of a window that's open with her back turned to it like this. And she would have to put on an electric blue dress. She would have to, sit on down. And then Mr. Rucastle would start telling jokes. Well, yeah, Mr. Rucastle would just start telling jokes. Now, Miss Rucastle just sitting there weeping and crying and all this foolishness. And Mr. Rucastle was just telling jokes. And she's like, oh my God, it was like the funniest thing. I would have tears in my eyes. Girl, it was like Def Comedy Jam. I didn't know what to do. And so, but she said she could never turn around and see what was going on in that window. They would just keep her attention. So after he would joke for like maybe 20 minutes, then he would just go on and leave. They would be like, go on, take off the dress and go on, get back to the child. I'm going to just start calling him Damien. Get on back to Damien, child. Get on back to little Damien. So, that went on. And then there will be other times that he would have her sit there and read books. They were just doing rando activities in their electric blue dress, in front of the window that she can't turn around and look out of. She just got to sit there looking at them, looking at her, looking out the window. So eventually she caught on to this and she's like, girl, I ain't got time for this. I need to see exactly what is going on behind me. Like, why these people got me sitting here looking at them, looking at me, looking out the window. And so she said one day she broke her compact, like, how you got your little mirror. She broke her little compact mirror. And so she said, girl, I had to take it and put it in a little rag and pretend like when he was laughing, I was dabbing my eyes, but I was looking out that window to see what was going on. What do you think was going on? What did you think? What do you put in the comments? What y'all think was going on? There's a man out there. He's just standing in the yard, child, just like, yes, girl. Yes. Yes. Looking at the back of her head. And them two fools looking at him. So, there's a man out there. So she's like, who the hell is this man? And why they got me doing all these theatrics with my back to the window and he looking at my back in the window? It was a mess. That wasn't the only weird thing, though. because these people are weird. And their child is Damien. So there's also a part of the wing. Oh, before we even get there, Mr. Toller, the wino, well, that's what I'm gonna call him, the wino, Mr. Toller. He, not only keeps the grounds for him, they have this big old mastiff. Now, I don't know if many people know what a mastiff is. I didn't learn mastiff, I learned about a mastiff like maybe 10 years ago. But it's a huge dog. Like bears might be smaller. Those things are big. So he got a big old mastiff that he lets roam around. Or you know what? No. I think I knew about it from the Hounds of Baskerville. I think that's a mastiff too. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So he got this big old mastiff that he feeds once a day, barely. And he says this. He just looks her in the eye and just like, yeah, girl. So yeah, you look at them eyes through that door. You see that? That's my big old mastiff. I feed him one time a day, scraps, because I like to keep him hungry. And I'm just like, And why does he do this? Because he likes to let them roam at night so nobody wants to come on the grounds. And I'm just like, sir, what you got over there that you trying to keep people away from? And why you got this girl? It doesn't matter. Okay, let's keep going. So do you have anything, Scott? And do you have any questions? Am I telling this in sequence? Like, what do you think?
Well, I never read it, so I can only go by you as far as sequence, but so far following.
You following? Because Scott tells me sometimes I don't tell it right. I know I don't tell it right because it's to make you read the book. Go read that book. Because there's nuance to it. So anyway, so he got this start. We got Damien as a child, okay, who needs an exorcism. We got the wife sitting there crying for no reason, looking pale and shrunken, that's 20 years younger than this man. We got a daughter that's 5 years younger than his new wife that didn't hit the bricks, honey. She said, hit the road, Jack. I'm out. Okay. And we got a starving mastiff just running amok to keep people off the grounds. And we got her in this electric blue dress, laughing and reading books and doing weird stuff. And some man standing in the window looking at her back, the back of her head. It's all crazy. So look, when I say Sherlock Holmes was sitting on the edge of his seat, he was sitting on the edge of his seat, honey. So, and he's like, yeah, Mr. Toller handle that big old mastiff Murphy. I feel like his name should be Murphy. That's not his name. He says his name in the book. I don't remember it. Someone call him Murphy. Murphy the mastiff. So Mr. Toller handles that. So another time she catches Mr. Rucastle coming out of like a locked behind this locked door. And she's like, oh, why can't I go in there? And he's like, no, don't you ever go in there. You remember that hungry mastiff Murphy? I'm going to make sure he gobble you up. Stop playing with me. Well, he didn't say that yet. So he's like, girl, just stay away from here. It's just my dark room. No big deal. Like, mind your business. Ain't you supposed to be with Damien, the child? Satan's spawn. Aren't you supposed to be over there with Damien? Get on. So she decides, she sees one day Mr. Toller gets super wasted, as he does every day. And he leaves he gets so wasted, he leaves the key in there in the door. And so she slips her little self up there. And what do you think happens, Scott? What do you think happens when she goes up there? She sneaks up there after Mr. Toller and left the key in the door.
Well, I mean, I think she's going to get caught.
Definitely, yeah, that happens. But what do you think she's going to see?
Someone, it's going to be a person in there.
Period.
That looks like the way they're trying to make her look.
Wait, you good? Have you read this before? Scott's telling the whole plot. Okay, there is indeed someone there, but she can't see them. She just sees their feet underneath the door. And she's like, oh my God, girl, there's a person in there. They can't even tell me it's a squirrel. It's a whole person. So, you know, she runs out and boop, who she bump into? Mr. Rucastle.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, what you doing? Girl. Look, let's fast forward to 2025 real quick. If there is a job that seems kind of weird, don't do it. If everything's screaming no, don't do it. If there's a relationship that seems too good to be true, just don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, I have this sitting in the back of my book, but I just want to say it twice because we could have avoided all this. And again, Scott and I have been watching Fatal Vows, For My Man, Fatal Attraction, and now Scorned. And all these people, it'd be like all these red flags. Just don't do it. We also do 90 Day Fiance, and it'd be buku, Lauren, red flags everywhere. Don't do it. If there's nothing else you understand from me, if it feels wrong, don't do it. Okay, so back to the 1800s. So my girl that's seen footsteps underneath there, and so she run out. Oh my God. And there's Mr. Rucastle. What you doing? That's how Scott got me. What you doing? Not like Mr. Rucastle though. So anyway, so there's Mr. Rucastle. He's like, oh, so you went into that room I told you not to go into that we paying you 120 pounds to follow our directions on, huh? So you just gonna go up in there? And she's like, oh my God. He's like, well, what did you see? What you see? What you see up in there? What you see? Tell me what you see. And she's like, I didn't see anything, because she could tell he was just like too eager, because she shouldn't have took the job. He was too eager then too, but okay, we're learning. So she was like, it wasn't that I saw anything. It's just so dark and creepy. I ran. I went hysterical. Mm-hmm. She played smart woman. We're learning. So he said, let me tell you something, little girl. Let me say something to you. Put your ear close to my mouth. He said, if you go in there again, if I catch you in there again, you know that Murphy, the starving mastiff? Yeah, I'm gonna let him just run ruckshot on you. Don't play with me. I'm not for play. He didn't say that exactly, but if I was him, if I had to translate it into today's words, that's what he would have said. So anyway, so she goes horrified to her room. She gets her pen and paper out, and she goes writing Sherlock Holmes. When he told her in the beginning, don't do it. She was already warned, wasn't she, Scott? Didn't he say?
He said, don't do it.
He said, don't do it. But she did it anyway. So Holmes is like, let me tell you, girl, I told you shouldn't have did it. He didn't say that. But he does say, okay, girl, look, this is like dire. This is crazy. I couldn't have even thought of this. But he was like, are they leaving any time today? And she was like, yeah, they leaving at 5. He was like, at 5 o'clock, we gonna be up there. Let us in the door. He was like, Mr. Toller be like passed out drunk by that point, right? Because he starts when he wakes up, honey. He hits that bottle as soon as he wakes up, honey. If he like got his eye half open, honey, that bottle is right to the mouth. So he was like, she was like, yeah, he be gone. He be faded at that point in the day. And he was like, what about Miss Toller? He was like, is there somewhere where you could lock her up? These are the conversations they're having. And she was like, oh yeah, in the cellar. She was like, I'll just send her down there for something and just lock the door. And so he was like, cool, let us in, because clearly some crimes are going on up in here. So, you know, they go as soon as the Rucastles leave. And so they go in there, they bust in, they can hear Miss Toller down there screaming. They jump past Mr. Toller, who is just sloppy, pissy drunk. And, you know, Holmes busts up into that room, that secret room that he threatened to like get the mastiff on her on. And what happens? Scott, what happens? Viewer, what happens? Y'all thought that was fireworks. It's just my light bright. Okay, I kept y'all on the edge of your seat long enough. Oh, you were gonna say something, Scott?
No, I'm waiting.
Okay, Boom. The skylight, there's nobody in the room. And the skylight, is opening up. It's opening up. And he's like, man. Now, even Sherlock Holmes has his blind spot. So this was a blind spot for him. So he was like, man, Mr. Rucastle then came back and, took the person out the room. He thought that Mr. Rucastle re-kidnapped the person. Because he was like, that's a scandal. He dusty. Mr. Rucastle, he's a loser. So I know he came back. He lied and told you he was going out. He was leaving so he could come back and re-kidnap that person. And so all of a sudden, here come Mr. Rucastle. And he's like, you helped that person who I had up in here, who I kidnapped and put up in here. You helped him escape. You scoundrel. Let me go get my mastiff that I starved. And I'm going to sink him on you. And so Watson, he's like, Watson, get your pew, 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 pow, pow, pow. Because Watson keep that thing on him. Watson at any time will be like, bam, honey. Boom. He'll whip it out on you, honey. He keep that thing on him. So they didn't even need that thing. Because you know why? See, this is karma. This karma right here. Here go karma for you. And, one of my friends said, you always have a front row seat to it. Here's that karma. So the dog, Mr. Toller didn't drink so much. He don't be doing his job right. Because what person that drinks that much, like, how could they? So he ain't fed that dog in like 2 days. Murphy the Mastiff is hangry, is what that equates to. So when Mr. Rucastle took his little chunky self to go get the dog on Sherlock Holmes and Watson and whoever else, and Miss Violet, the dog said, honey, I see something chunky and yummy in front of me. So he went on and went for Mr. Rucastle's throat. Right to the throat chakra. He went for the throat chakra. Okay, honey? And here come Watson. Boom, 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 boom. He had to take the dog down to save Mr. Rucastle, which I wouldn't have, honey, get the son. He seems to like to take down animals. Get him. Let him do the dirty work for you. But that's not what happened. Watson was the one who pulled out that thing and took care of business, handled business. And, Watson went to go, because Watson's a doctor. He went over there to tend to him, and Mr. Rucastle was indeed still alive, but just jacked up, honey. So they called for the little county surgeon. Now, here's where we answer the questions at right here. So Sherlock is like, oh my God, that was crazy. And what happened to my girl? What happened to my girl who was locked up in there? Because he deduced that it was the daughter Alice. But he just didn't know why. Like, why is this chick up in this room here? Why? And so they let Miss Toller out the cellar. Well, Mr. Rucastle had let Miss Toller out the cellar, and she was like, look, I'll tell you, honey, I ain't like that. Y'all got me effed up. Okay, y'all could have just asked me. And literally she says that. Y'all could have just asked me. You did not have to do all that locking me in the cellar. It stank down there and there are roaches, clearly, because the little boy killing them. So she was like, Miss Alice, when her mama passed away, her mom left her a lot of money. And Mr. Rucastle got used to just living off that money, honey. It's how he got his little young teen wife. Okay? That's how he got the wife with her money. And so she was like, at a point, Alice had met her a dude, and she's like, hey, I get that you got your little young teen on my money, but now me and my honey want the money, and we gonna go on, and live us a good life. And he was like, Mr. Rucastle, Jeffro was like, excuse me? No, you not get married. And so she said, yes, I am. And he said, no, you're not. And he kidnapped her and put her up in that room. Because I guess that's what we did in the 1800s. I don't know. And so they hired Violet because she had the same shade of hair and the same build and all that stuff, because Violet said her electric blue dress fit perfectly. It was like it was made for her. So that was Alice's dress. So he picked well. And I guess the man had stressed her out. Jeffro had stressed Violet out so much that like her hair came out because she got sick. So that's why my girl had to cut her hair. So, what else am I missing? Oh, wait, that's why she cut her hair. He locked her up in there. Oh, but her suitor, that guy who was gonna marry Alice, he went over there and talked to Miss Toller. This is why you got to talk to Miss Toller, honey. Check the people out before you just be pushing them in a cellar. So the suitor got a fiance to Alice. Alice's fiance basically came, talked to Miss Toller, gave her some money. And Miss Toller was like, I'm gonna help you out. So she got him the ladder. She set it up with Alice, like, girl, you about to be free, girl. And Alice and the fiance didn't escape and went on down the road. And Holmes all late to the party. Holmes, Watson, you, Scott, and I are late to the party, honey. They already had an escape plan. They didn't need whatchamacallit. But you know what? Violet needed them, because Violet, honey, put herself right on in danger. I hope she got her whole 120. Because I'll be mad if I didn't get my money. Because let me tell you how it ends. Mr. Jeffro is just permanently disabled. So that little young teen wife, she got to take care of him for the rest of his life, because he's just disabled, because he had Murphy the Mastiff tear his throat out. Tear that throat chakra out, honey. That's what happened. And that was kind of the end of it. My girl Violet went on to be like a principal at a school. Alice and her dude, they got married and were happy. Everything ended up good. And Sherlock Holmes went back to dragging everything in society because he's intelligent. Period. Now, I do have a couple of things here, because I feel like there should be lessons from this story that we should be learning here. Because I'm not just going to be sitting here talking and ain't nobody learning nothing. Few lessons. What I got out this story. And hey, put it down in the comments what you got if I missed something. I got a few things. All money ain't good money. Okay, at any time, Violet could have said, that's crazy. You need me to do what? And he doing what? He killing cockroaches. What? If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. This is how people be getting scammed, because they be like, oh my God, I could get this thing for this. No, honey, no. If it was that easy, we would all be rich. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Just consider it. If something doesn't seem right, it never hurts to get a second opinion from someone wiser than yourself that you respect. Always. Just slow down and get a second opinion. Don't just do it, especially if it don't seem right. Also, it never hurts to let someone know what you're doing if a situation doesn't feel right. Just let somebody know. So then if something go wrong, they can call the police for you or come pick you up or do whatever, you know? I feel like a lot of people go wrong. That's what we be seeing on Fatal Attraction, Deadly Vow, like all them crazy ID channel shows. Also, children pick up their parents' behavior. So be careful what you're doing for your children. And also, hey, look into your childhood, because your parents may have taught you some of their bad behaviors. That's what I got. What did you get out of this, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, definitely if your intuition's telling you something, you probably pay attention to it. But I got a question. Maybe yes. I just missed it. So going back, who was the dude in the window?
That was the fiance.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
I figured that's who it was, and I didn't know if you said that or not.
No, that was Alice's fiance. He was still coming around like, girl, what happened? Where you go? Like all of a sudden she ghosted him, but he knew that wasn't her. So I mean, they don't say this in the book. I'm just assuming. But you know, he persisted. He was like, I want her. I want her. He did exactly what men do when they want a woman. He wanted her, so he kept coming around like, where my boo at? Where my boo? Anything else? Scott, do you have anything else?
No, that was my only question.
Oh, that was it?
That was it.
Okay. Well, if there are any questions from you guys, go read the book. I promise it's a quick read. I think I counted, it was like 20 something pages. Quick read. Also, there are nuances in there that I couldn't get to because, you know, I'm a translator. I'm a Sherlock Holmes whisperer. So there are definitely nuanced things that are in there that I think you guys will enjoy. That are in there. So please, please, please go read the book. And also like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And hey, have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. We gotta close her up. Gotta close her up. So we are now closed.